What's going on, everybody? So I'm going to give you all a brief summary and my thoughts on the Diablo 4 developer live stream. This is actually a really big one, and it's clarified quite a few things that I had a lot of questions about. So right here, I have a little bit of a doc here that I was writing up, and you can see some of the key points. We have the seasonal quest line, expanding storyline for some seasonal mechanics that they were talking about, new gameplay according to the seasons, new aspects, the mount and skip campaign have permanent unlocks, some battle pass talk, regular balance changes, no leaderboards for early seasons, and mid-July season launch. So that's going to be the key points if you just want the little 20-second. Let's dive into a few parts of this. So first off, starting with the seasonal sort of talk at the very beginning of the live stream, they mentioned quite a few things, and I'm going to go ahead and scoot on back here to talk a little bit about the seasonal journey. So this is the seasonal journey. Now, for those of you that have played the Diablo 3, this is something that you're going to be extremely familiar with. And when they talked about seasons, they said they're going to add things like additional seasonal quests, seasonal mechanics, and seasonal aspects, and a different focus on this season. Now, if you're someone who is not making a seasonal character, from what I've seen, you are potentially not going to be able to get access to things like the seasonal aspects and things like that. Now, what's really important about this is that you don't have to finish every quest in this, and that you actually get access, as I said, to the aspects as you complete each chapter. Similar to how Diablo 3 works. So, and really important thing to do at the beginning of each season will be to focus in on seasonal journeys. And so doing things like, I mean, for chapter 1, it's like complete dungeons, do dungeons in fractured peaks, etc. It's very simple. But this is extremely important and is going to streamline our seasonal progression, and probably the thing that we're going to be focusing on the most in the new season upcoming. Now, I will say we will not have any sort of thing for the preseason, as far as they've said. There's not going to be a seasonal journey. There's not going to be seasonal mechanics. There's not going to be seasonal aspects. It is a preseason. And as they mentioned later on in the stream, the first season will launch mid-July. So as we suggested, 6 weeks after launch, that is exactly mid-July. So pretty much consistent with any of our estimates based on some achievements we've seen in the beta. Other than that, we basically have pretty much a description of what the seasons will kind of be like. Again, our seasonal progression is kind of based on the seasonal journey. Now, they did mention that the seasonal journey is roughly 80 hours of completion time, which is a decent chunk for those casual players. They did not mention it in this live stream. They mentioned it in previous interviews, so that is something to consider. I also want to mention that during your seasonal kind of questing and all that type of stuff and going through the campaign, as soon as you've unlocked the skip campaign function or the mount, they alluded to that you're going to be able to go ahead and do that across any character. So if you've done it on an Eternal Realm character and you play a hardcore character next time, you can skip campaign regardless. These are account level unlocks, not necessarily character bound or classification of characters. These are account level unlocks, which are super massive, okay? So that's going to be a pretty nice, and they suggested that at level 30 or so, we're going to get access to the mount, which is pretty important for those of you that, well, are curious about the mounts. Then we dive into the battle pass, and this is where our people start to get a little concerned because there are still people who are worried about the monetization. They said word for word multiple times in this live stream, you will not be able to pay for power in Diablo 4. Word for word, you cannot pay for power in Diablo 4. They've said it, I think, 3 times in this live stream. I paid very close attention. So anything that we talk about here, you cannot pay for extra XP, extra stats, extra whatever it is for the battle pass. Now, there's 2 versions of the battle pass, so the free and the premium. The premium will unlock additional tiers potentially if you wish to go ahead and purchase those. And as you go through, you're going to have things like 2 armor sets for each class, mount skins, other skins, and various different types of cosmetics. But then you're also going to have blessings. And this is where people get concerned, because if we skip ahead here and we consider this right here, you actually get this from the battle pass. And it's sort of tied in with the seasons, but you can see here, it actually gives you boost the amount of gold you earned, or boost the amount of chance of rare materials from salvage. And you're like, oh, this is pay to win. This is only through the free version. If you pay money to access extra tiers, you could get additional ashes, once you reach the corresponding level. So the way you unlock these bonuses is you spend Smoldering Ashes, and if we go back to the previous iteration, you could see the ashes at the battle pass are unlocked behind a certain level, not necessarily the specific, you know, battle pass tier. So you have to get to this respective level to even access this, which you'll be getting to naturally. So that's pretty important, okay? Very, very important. The way you unlock the favor is generally through the seasonal journey, as we just mentioned. So the seasonal journey is going to be the way you get favor, which progresses the battle pass, which progresses to get the Smoldering Ashes, which gives you essentially seasonal blessings. Okay, so in turn, that is kind of what happens here. You can see there's some like ones like boosting experience, a boosting experience from monster kills. We have boosting amount of gold earned from vendor sales. And this is all, again, through the free battle pass that everyone can unlock at the same time, regardless of if you spend money. And so this is going to be pretty cool, honestly. It allows you to customize a little bit of your seasonal progression. And then they went on to say, as they continued onwards, they talk about long-term progression and all that good stuff, and a few things like quality of life. The long-term progression essentially is that you can continue to play your main character. Once you've gone ahead and played a seasonal character, it'll turn into an Eternal Realm character, but you still want to start fresh potentially to access a lot of the seasonal content. They did not mention specifically if you would be excluded from everything or anything. That was not something that I picked up in the stream. If anyone knows something different, let me know in the comment section down below. But in terms of long-term progression and the future development of Diablo 4, they basically went on to say that they are going to be doing a lot of balance changing for customization. So they want everyone to kind of have a lot of options, and they don't want anything to be extremely strong. When I think of extremely strong, I think of Diablo 3 Season 28 and the Tal Rasha Wizard. Tal Rasha Wizard's like far superior than any other wizard build, and you just don't want to run any other wizard build. That's just kind of how it is. And they don't want anything like that. They want every build to be relatively good, and they may have a strongest build per seasonal mechanics, but they don't want anything to feel bad when you play it, like you're making the wrong decision. So they're gonna have regular balance updates, which is huge. I absolutely love hearing this as a content creator, especially because I'll be able to provide you all with obviously regular updates on what they're doing to changing up the meta, etc. And they also mentioned that no leaderboards on early seasons, not just preseason. Season 1 and Season 2 specifically, they mentioned that there's most likely not going to be any leaderboards, and they're working on developing that in the future. So any sort of pay-to-win aspect that you might have considered in terms of leaderboards will not exist for early access. And then at later seasons, guess what? Early access won't exist, so there's no real pay-to-win in my opinion. You know, there's no leaderboard, so I mean, there's not really much to pay to win for, I guess. But that's pretty much it, guys. There are a few other minor things, but those are the main key points. The main points are seasonals and what they've kind of rolled out, and they have confirmed mid-season of July or mid-July season launch, as well as a few other things. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is hearing more about the battle pass and seeing how it's going to work, and the fact that mount and skip campaign will be permanent unlocks once you unlock them once. So if you unlock them once, you get them forever, and the mount unlocks roughly around level 30 or around early act 2, which is going to be around level 30, assuming that you're not necessarily like going out and grinding all the dungeons and leveling up that way. So this is huge, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. I will have more videos in the future talking more in depth about each one of these topics, because as I said, each one of these topics can have their own video associated with it. They talked about a lot of different information, but there's the brief summary and my thoughts on a few things. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.